Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Jano by Abhishek. Today it is day 14 and in this video we will continue to our previous video. In this video we are going to learn about silent letters. What are those letters? In which situation we have to keep them silent? What are the patterns? What are the rules for different letters so that we can understand them in the detail, and whenever any word comes, so we can get to know which one is the word which we have to keep silent. It is very simple topic, but it's very important along with that, because the silent letters, many times many words are there which we pronounce wrong, which is not a right way. If we know, so why should we pronounce wrong? If the word is here, if I write, many people pronounce this word receipt. They also use the word this p in their pronunciation, which is not a correct, which is not correct at all, because p is silent here. The word pronunciation will be of this one is receipt. P is silent here. So this is the thing which we use in our daily life, but the thing we don't know, we are not aware, we don't have this knowledge that which word will be silent. What if you will get to know? Yes, what if you will get to know what are the rules, what are those ways through which we can understand that we have to keep them silent? It is a key for them, for this mysterious lock. Yeah, so now let's see for those letters. So friends, first letter we are going to start, which is the letter K. Okay, what are the place where do we have to pronounce them, or where we don't have to pronounce them? Okay, let's see. First one, the K. If it comes after the word, then K sound will be there. If there is any word, and which is, and in which word, in that word K is not in the beginning, okay, K is not in the beginning, then the sound of K will be come in that word. For example, if I take example of this, then like milk, milk, we are taking the sound of this K, yeah, and it is not in the beginning. It is what? It is after the word. After the word means it is not in the beginning. It can be in the mid or it can be at the end. Okay, then we will include the sound of the word, the letter K, okay, in our word. So this is the first point. But if the word K, this word K is coming in the beginning of a word, in the beginning of a word, then if it comes at the beginning of the word, then N is there. N is there, so that K will be silent. If the word K is in the beginning first, and then after the next word, after the K is N, so in that situation the K word will be silent, the letter K will be silent. Okay, clear? For example, we know very much like no, yes, and knit, yes, knock, yes. Many examples are there which starts from K, and after N, and first letter is K, yes, as you can see, and the after a next letter from this, it is N, yes, as you can see here, N. So in this situation the K, the letter K will be what? Will be silent, will be silent. Okay, so this is very basic rule for K, where we have to keep it silent. This is the one here for K. You need to remember it. Okay, now let's move on to the next letter. Friends, our next letter is P. Now let's see when do we have to keep this letter silent in any word. Okay, the letter P can be silent when it precedes S in a word in the beginning. In the beginning. So when do we have to keep this letter silent? when it precedes s, means when the next word of after p is s, in a word in the beginning, in a word, when the letter is p and then after that there is s, so in that case we have to keep the letter p silent. Okay, understood? Very simple. We can see a few examples of it, like psychology, psychology, psychic, psychic, pneumonia, pneumonia. These are the examples in which we can see that p is in the beginning and after p there is s. Yeah, but we are not pronouncing here the letter p, we are keeping them silent. Okay, so this is the rule, that whenever the word in the beginning, the combination of letter will be ps and pn, in that case we don't have to pronounce the letter p, means we have to keep the letter p silent. Why? Because actually the combination of pn and ps, there is no sound of the combination of these letters. Okay, so the third point is our the same. There is no sound of combination p n and ps. As we can see here, it is a p n. So there is no sound. Pneumonia, 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 and this one psychology, psychology, psychic, psychology. Okay, so the thing is that there is no sound. That is why we keep them silent. Okay, we keep it silent. But here the word as I gave in the beginning as example, that is reset, that is reset, in that p is in the middle of this word, as we can see. Yeah, in the middle of the word, but still p is silent here. Why it is? No logic. As I have told in English, here in the silent letter I'm telling you the patterns and the rules, that where they can find them, where we can find these letters silent. Okay, so as we are learning, but still after learning these patterns rules, some exceptions can be there and we have to accept them. Okay, because they are, and we have to grab as it is. Okay, so here the word receipt, in this p becomes silent in the middle. There is no logic for it, we don't have any logic, it is just silent. We know this much. So the thing is that we have now got to know that p is silent, so we don't have to pronounce that it is receipt. No, it is receipt, it is receipt. This was all about the letter p. Now let's move on the next letter. Okay friends, now let's come to the letter C. Okay, this is the letter which is very important because it has two pronunciation. Okay, as we saw last previous two letter, they had only one pronunciation. Okay, but this letter has two pronunciation. First one is ka, second one is sa. First one is ka and second one is sa. This is the first point also. This letter has two pronunciation, ka and sa. Okay, now we will have to see when do we have to pronounce this letter as ka and when do we have to pronounce this letter as sa, and after that when do we have to keep this letter silent and when we don't have to keep it silent. Okay, so we will just have to look when do we have to keep this letter silent in any particular word. Okay, in the second point, as you can see, when the letter C follows the letter S, when the letter C follows the letter S, follows the letter S means when the letter C, comes after the letter S, when the letter C comes after the letter S, it is silent. Then in that case we will have to keep this letter silent. As we can see a few examples like muscle, seen, scent, many more can be there. Okay, so here the C letter is coming what? After the letter S. C is coming what? After S. C is coming what? After X. C is coming what? After X. Yes, so here what do we have to keep? We will have to keep this letter letter C silent here in this, because in these examples C is following what? C is following to the letter S. That is why we will have to keep the letter C silent here. Okay, as we can see, muscle, muscle, we are not pronouncing here the letter C. Muscle, muscle, here seen, seen, us seen, we are not saying that, we are saying seen, seen. We are using the sound for the sound of C. Okay, here scent, scent. Okay, so these were the example of this one, so that we can get to know where do we have to keep the letter S silent. So this is the rule number 1, that when do we have to keep this letter S silent. You need to keep it note down in your notebook so that you can keep it. Remember, it is the important point that you will have to keep it note down in your book, that when do we have to keep the letter C silent. Okay, when it comes after S, in that case it will be silent. Okay, as we saw examples also. Now what will happen, what happen if we are using double C? Double C, if there is a word in which the letter C is 2 times, then what we will do in that case? Let's see. If double C, A, O and U vowels are in back in the spelling, A, O, U vowels are in back, okay, in the spelling, then double C will be pronounced as K, as K. We can see example for this, like occasion. What occasion? As we can see the example occasion here, these are the vowels A, O, U. Okay, and these are in back in the spelling, these are in back in the spelling, then CC will be pronounced. If A okay, if these vowels are in back, means before the double C, in that case we will pronounce this double C as K. Here as we can see, the double C is here, but it is after O, it is after O, means O is before double C. Okay, O is in back in the spelling, O is in back in the spelling, then double C we will be pronounced as K. So that is why we will pronounce the double C here as K, as K. Okay, occasion, occasion, we are not saying occasion, we are saying occasion. Okay, clear? Now let's see the last point, that is, here the vowels were what? A, O, U. What if the vowels are E, I? Okay, so here is that E, I vowels are in back in the spelling. Here we saw for A, O, U when they were in the back in the spelling. Now we will see the left 2 vowels, that these are E, I. What if these 2 vowels E, I are in back in the spelling? Then its pronunciation will be K, will be K. As we can see the example, accident, and accent, okay, so this was all about C letter. Now we will see the next letter. Okay, okay friends, now we have next letter, that is G. Now we will see where do we have to keep this letter silent. Okay, what are those rules and patterns through which we can also get to know that when we can keep this letter silent. Okay, so G letter has a hard sound usually, as we know. G hard sound it has. Yeah, in Hindi it has soft sound G. Yeah, but in English it has hard sound. In English, a lot of words have a silent G in their spellings. Yes, Now we have to check where they are silent, what pattern and what rules they are following there, okay, in any particular word. Generally, this is the rule. This second point is going to tell when do we have to keep this letter silent. So this is the important. Generally, when letter G is placed before N, when G is but before N, in that case G will be silent. Very simple rule. When there is a word, when there is a word, in the word there is a letter what, G, and then after G there is a letter N, so in that case we will keep this letter G silent. How? This letter key, we will keep it silent. Now let's see it's a few example. For instance, means for example, sign, foreign, design. As you can see here in the word sign, here we are not pronouncing this word G. Why? Because it is placed before N. Before N it is placed. Before N it is placed. Before N it has it is placed. Yeah. So in that case we will not pronounce the letter G. But this letter here, subtle difference is here that it helps us in elongation. Even as we have accepted the G letter will be silent, but it doesn't mean it will be totally silent here. It is helping us in the elongation of a letter, of a word. For example, the word is here foreign, okay. Let's take this word sign. If the letter G I didn't include, so it means I'll need to pronounce this word sin, which is like this, sin, which is also a word. So if I'm not, if G is silent, then pronunciation must be like must be similar to this sin, but it is not. Why? Because here G is silent, but it is but elongated. Okay, elongated means it is helping us to stretch that word. So that is why we are here pronouncing this word sign. We are not saying sin. Why are we not saying? Because the G is helping us to stretching these letters, these words, okay. Now the same thing it has written here in the third point. We have to stretch the letter G but won't be pronounced. Yep, these letter will not be pronounced, but this letter G is helping here in the elongation while pronouncing any letter which is following this pattern, okay. So this is the point where do we have to remember the when and how do we have to pronounce this letter, that particular word in which include G, okay. Now let's move on to the next letter. Okay friends, so we have next fifth letter, that is B. Now we will see when do we have to keep this letter silent in any particular word, okay. As we can see in the first point, the letter B is a part of a lot of spellings. Definitely all the letter are part of many spellings. So same thing he has it has written here, the letter B is a part of spellings. But the important part is going to come. But when it is placed after an M, it is supposed to be silent. What it says? It is saying when it is placed after an M, it is supposed to be silent. After an M, there is any spelling in which M and B, these two letters are there, and B is just after M, B letter is just after M, then in that case we have to keep silent the letter B. So this is the one point which you will one rule or pattern you can say, so that you can understand when do we have to keep silent this letter. Now let's see it's a few examples, okay. Like tomb, how do we pronounce it? Generally tomb, but as per the rule B is what? B is silent here. B is silent. So how we will pronounce this word? We will say Tom. Then not comb, comb. Crumb, crumb. Then climb, no. Climb, climb. Mostly and you generally we pronounce this word climb, climb. Let's climb the mountain. No, it is not. B is silent here. So how we will pronounce? We will pronounce climb, climb. Okay, as per the rule we have got that B is coming after M. B is coming after M. So B will be silent. Okay, the same point is the same thing is saying this third point, that whenever B sound is after M, whenever B sound is after M, B sound should be silent. What? B sound should be silent. It should keep in your mind whenever M and B will be there in any spelling and B is after M, then in that case that B letter will be silent. Okay. Now let's move on the sixth letter. So now let's see the letter T, that when do we have to keep this letter silent. There is a one pattern through which if we see any word in any word that letters have arranged in the same pattern as I'm going to tell here, if you will find the same pattern, so in that case you will have to keep the letter T silent in that word. Okay, now let's see. The letter T doesn't have a specific rule. T doesn't have any specific rule, but it is noticed in words like listen and whistle that the th sound goes silent. That the sound ta, listen, no, listen, whistle, no, whistle. So the sound T of here in these two examples are silent. Okay. So what do we have to do? We will have to check the pattern in any word. If we see the letters that S and T are there and S is and T is after S, so in that case T will be silent. Okay. No, now let's see the second point. In the middle of a word where T follows S, means when T comes after S, same thing is here, like in castle, hustle, bristle. So in that case it takes the sound of S and becomes a silent. A count of S, as you can see, castle, 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 hustle, bristle. So what is happening here? T is becoming silent, but a S sound is coming. Okay, so this is the pattern which we will have to check whenever we will find it in any word. So we will have to do the same. What do we have to do? We have to keep the letter T silent. Okay, now let's see the seventh silent letter, what it is. So my dear friends, now this is the last letter in this video and we have seen the sixth letter. Now this is the seventh one, that is N. Now let's see when do we have to keep this letter silent. Okay, as we have seen for the other letters some rules, some patterns. Okay, in the same way we will look for this also. Okay, when the letter N placed after the letter M, it becomes a silent. When the letter placed after the letter M, when there is N but it is after M in any word, if the letter N is after M, then in that case N will be silent in that word. How it is? Let's see its example. When there is MN, so here N is after M. N placed after the letter M. N placed after the letter M in a spelling. Okay, so it gets a little longer, so it will be silent, but it will help us in elongation. As I have taken the word sign, in that G we are not pronouncing, but G is helping us in stretching the word sign. Okay, otherwise why are we not pronouncing the word like sin? Okay, definitely we should pronounce like it, but we are not pronouncing. So it means the letter G is helping us in that word sign, in stretching to that word. Sin, we are not saying, we are saying sign. In the same way, here M and N, in the combination of this, N will be silent, but N will be also helping in what, in stretching to that word, and as we can see the example, autumn, here autumn, a M and N are there, as we can see here in these example. Dam, column. Okay, so N is what, N is after M, N is what, after M, N is what, after M. So N is after M. So as per this pattern, as per this rule, we can say that else N should be silent in these examples, in these words. Okay, we are not saying autumn, autumn, autumn. That buzzing sound, it is just coming, that buzzing sound is coming just because of this N. Okay, because this N letter is helping us in stretching the word. Okay, it is silent, but it is elongating the word. Okay, it is clear. That is why we are pronouncing here autumn, aut autumn, dam, column. Yes, a buzzing last, in the last a buzzing sound is coming. It is just because of this N. It is silent, but it is helping us in our, in the stretching of any word. Okay, so friends, this was all about the silent letters. We covered in this video 7 silent letters. Hopefully you have enjoyed and have learned a lot from this video. Now what do we have to do? You will have to note down the pattern for each letters, through which we can understand that yes, this is the pattern, this is the rule. Whenever I will see in any word, so I'll have to keep the particular letters silent, which we have covered in the video. Okay, what more can you do? You can understand by searching more examples for those each letter which I have explained in this video. Okay, so it will helpful for you to understand in the detail. It is very important, it is very important, so that it gives us very clarity. The thing is not that we cannot remember all these words. The thing is that we are doing it, and if you are doing, then definitely one day you will learn it also. Okay, so now this was all about and thanks a lot to watch this video. If you are here till now keep smile, stay healthy, and we will meet in our next video with the another amazing topic which will definitely help us in our spoken English. Bye bye.